Thank you for being here today. If you tell the jury your full name.
Ricky Collette.
Where do you work and what do you do, sir?
I work for Cherokee County Fire and Emergency Services, and I'm a Battalion Chief.
In Cherokee County, is law enforcement and the fire department, are they separated?
Yes, sir.
I know some counties they're combined into both are in the same house. How many firefighters and things like that do we have in Cherokee County?
Right now, I think we just have approximately 400 firefighters.
And what level of service does your department provide to the county?
Yes, sir. We pretty much provide an all hazards department, from taking a person to the hospital in the ambulance to swift water rescue, dive, hazmat, search and rescue, in your normal assisting citizens off the floor, to again take them to the hospital, to house fires.
How long have you been working as a firefighter?
I've been a certified firefighter for almost 35 years.
And how many people do you supervise, or how many things do you actually control and manage?
Yes, sir. As Battalion Chief, I oversee 9 fire stations, and there's approximately 40 to 45 personnel that I oversee directly.
What made you get into this line of work?
I remember in the middle 80s, 1980s, there was a tornado that came through our community, and it was just a young teenager riding through, looking at all the destruction. I saw firefighters out in the middle of all the rain and the wind. I'm like, that's where I want to be, right there. And
Been there the whole time?
Yes, sir. I just want to be a help.
And do you enjoy it?
I love it.
What type of specialties or specializations do you have under your belt? What do you do?
Yes, sir. Of course, I'm a certified firefighter. I'm a paramedic. I'm a certified dive instructor. I help oversee our special operations teams. I'm an assistant to the special operations chief. So I have specialties in hazmat, rope, of course, dive and search and rescue.
And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Tell the jury, if you would, what kind of dive team or dive squad that we have here in the county.
Yes, sir. So Cherokee County, we have, over the years, we started with a volunteer dive team, and we've transitioned to pretty much a fully staffed career, what we call career, our firefighters on duty dive team. We have, of course, Lake Allatoona is our main body of water here in the county. So our divers are trained as what we call public safety divers. As just an ordinary person, you go to the dive shop, you get an open water certification, and then once from there we progress to what we call public safety divers, so more intense. We dive in basically hazmat dry suits where we stay dry while we're diving, full face piece. We have underwater communications, and we search on a rope or a hand line that's connected to a person on the shore.
Have you been called out before to assist law enforcement in investigation of a criminal matter?
Yes, sir, we have.
Outside of this case, other things?
Yes, sir.
Is it usually to retrieve evidence or look for evidence?
Yes, sir.
I want to turn your attention now, I believe, July 6th of 2018 and July 7th of 2018. I believe you and your squad went out there for 2 days to 2155 Purcell Lane, the scene location in this case. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Up on the screen in front of you, you probably see it as Aerial 3 exhibit. This is the pond on the property that we're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
If you would, tell the jury what this pond, what it was like when specifically about the bottom and how that is maybe different from other type of water you've been in before.
Right. So generally, smaller ponds like this, we pretty much know there's no visibility. So you're basically what we call black water, zero visibility. I often describe it as diving in chocolate milk. Sometimes you can see some light, but you can't see the hand in front of your face. So when we dove this pond, anything below 2 feet deep in the water, there's hardly any light, and there was about 3 inches of silt on the bottom of the pond. So when we searched, we're having to search by feel.
What's the bottom like? Was it What type? If you could compare it to something like a natural lake or a natural pond, what was it like?
It was just what we call a silty bottom. It's very soft. Saying it was about 3 inches from where the top of the silt to the hard bottom was in the water. So it's not like if you go to Lake Altoona, we have the hard clay bottom. It's not like that in the ponds.
Is the bottom of this pond, this water here, is it so that it was so muddy that things could actually get down and you couldn't find it? It'd be very difficult, or what was this one like in comparison?
Compared to what we've dove before, it wasn't that difficult. It wasn't. There was a layer of silt, but it wasn't so deep it was hindering us from searching.
On July 6th, that Friday of 2018, it looks like y'all were there from about 12 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Is that about right?
Yes, sir.
And then you came back the next day, July 7th, that Saturday. Looks like you were there from about 9 o'clock in the morning until about 6 o'clock in the evening. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Were they long days?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury what you actually, when you got out there, what you were tasked to do, and then we're going to look at some pictures, but tell us what you did.
Okay, so as being the dive team leader I met with the sheriff's office, and I think it was at the time Captain Pinion. He told us that he would like for us to search the pond. We were looking for a weapon in the pond, and that he would like for us to conduct a thorough search of the pond. Of course, it was summertime. It was hot, so I assembled our team together and briefed them on what our objectives were, and we started our day diving.
And the assignment, the pond, the lake, the body of water is less than a half acre. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then the division, how did you divide? I guess it was 7 areas to do a systematic search?
Yes, sir. Just the way the pond is laid out and the way we conduct our search. So in order for us to conduct a thorough search, I just broke the pond down into smaller sections using just some of the natural trees and the areas of the pond. So to make sure that we had a thorough search of the pond, we just break it up into smaller sections.
And when you would do something like this, do you want to have a control or supervision to make sure that your people are actually searching systematically and find things? Are you using any type of control, or in our world we talk about a widget, but you probably call it assault, I think is what you call it.
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury about that. How do you do that?
Okay, so when we were tasked to search the area, there's a quality control thing that we use. We'll take if we're searching for something small like a weapon, we had a couple pieces of pipe with an elbow, so it kind of resembled the shape of a gun. And that day we had 3 of them, and I believe I gave it to one of the investigators, and to throw out into the pond wherever they seem fit to throw it. So I gave it to I think it was the investigator, and they threw 3 of those into the pond. So that when we're searching the pond, we want to find what we call the salt, just to ensure that we are doing a thorough search of the pond.
Were you able to look at some photographs that we had and that you provided relating to your department, also the actual search that day?
Yes, sir.
Were those photographs fair and accurate photographs involving things in this case?
Yes, sir.
Judge, this time my tenor is State's Exhibit Collette 1 through 6.
No objection.
All right, we're moved. So this is your symbol for the fire department?
Yes, sir.
And then you have, how big of a unit is the dive team? I see you have looks like a vehicle. How many people work in it?
Yes, sir. We usually keep around 12 active divers.
And then call it 3 here. There's a photograph here. What is this?
This is when I was conducting in open water your initial dive certification to get you up to public safety diver. So this is a class I was teaching for on-duty divers.
And the things that everybody's wearing, is that what you would wear during the actual search in this case, or is it something different?
It's similar, but we wear a little bit different. What I'm wearing there in the picture is called a wetsuit, where actually water is kept inside the suit. What we dive is a dry suit, so we're completely dry. I could dive in this and come out just as dry as I am now.
And up to this exhibit, the fourth exhibit, these are things that are not related to this case, just things that you have with your agency. Is that right?
That's correct.
5, same thing, just showing pictures.
Yes, sir.
6, also training exercise. Where was this at?
That's in Williston, Florida, at Blue Grotto Dive Resort.
Now here, call it 7. This is from the actual day that you went out.
Yes, sir.
And this is a picture of just along the fence line.
Yes, sir.
And you had a picture you took showing the way the pond looked that day when you did this.
Correct.
No issues with weather or wind, anything like that?
No, sir.
Let's call it number 9 here. Just kind of showing the stillness of the pond before you guys go in.
Yes, sir.
And then 10 is looking back up to the house. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. 11, what is this?
Okay, that's our salt. That's what, when we gave that to the investigators, he threw it out, 3 of those out into the pond, and we retrieved all 3 of them.
12 here. I guess y'all set up some tents and whatnot, and what we're doing here.
Yes, sir. So this is kind of our little rehab section where you see the diver there. He's in our dry suit and what we call our rig, the tank on the back. He is our 90% diver. We have 3 divers: a primary, the person who's in the water. Then we have a backup diver. They're usually in the water at the surface in case something goes wrong with the initial diver. And this diver here would be our what we call a 90%. He's 90% dressed. He doesn't have on his mask, so that's all he would need to put on and be able to enter the water.
Okay. 13 here, what do we have here?
That looks like I'm talking to Captain Pinion there. That's again, that's our rehab area and just a staging area for our equipment.
And 14, what do we see? Is there a line? Did you have your divers hooked up to a line?
Yes, sir. So there's the diver in the water. That the person you see in the water is our backup diver. I can tell that because of the line that you see near the diver in the red there. You see the line, there's knots in the line, so I know that line is going to our diver in the water that you can't see, and the one floating at the surface is our backup diver. Yep.
Same thing, 15 here.
Yes, sir. Same thing.
And then, is that the suit that was used?
Yes, sir.
16.
That's a suit and a Carlson board that we use for searching shallow water that he's carrying.
Just to perfect the record, the state has Collette 1 through 16, and I tendered those into evidence without objection. That's my understanding.
No objection.
All right, they're admitted.
How, when you do the search, how slowly and methodically is the diver going?
So he's going very slow when we're looking for a target or something like that. He's going very slow because he's having to go by feel. He's got, and it's more of a crawl on the bottom of the lake than it is a swim or a dive. He's connected to a rope from the shore to the diver, so he's holding on to the rope with one hand, keeping it tight, and he's going back and forth with his other hand searching the bottom. So it's very slow, very methodical.
Are you confident that the pond was searched systematically and thoroughly?
Yes, sir, I am.
And did y'all find any gun?
Any gun? No, sir.
Yes. Nothing further going.
And that was Battalion Chief Collette?
Yes, sir.
I'm John Luke Weaver, and I represent Melody Farris. Nice to meet you, sir.
You too.
Just a few quick questions, primarily because I'm curious. In doing this, did you find the salt guns, all 3 salt guns?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay. And did you use any technology? For example, I like to go fishing. I like crappie fishing. I call it crappie. crappie. And I use a Lowrance fish finder, which kind of shows the bottom of every lake I go to.
Yes, sir.
Did you guys use anything like that?
No, sir, we didn't.
All right. Do y'all ever use any kind of sonar technology or anything to map the bottom of whatever body of water?
We do.
Okay. Why not in this case?
Because it was such a small pond, sonar is not going to pick up a small metal target like that. And we don't have a good way to launch our boat because it's a fairly large boat. It was just going to be a slow, methodical search. Typically, we only use sonar if we're trying to find a truck that's underwater or maybe a body underwater, something larger. But our training is we've never been able to find anything small like that using sonar.
Did you guys use metal detectors?
Not at the time, we didn't.
Okay. Now, can you use metal detectors
We do
underwater?
now. Yes, sir.
All right. So that's something that's been implemented, maybe even because of this case.
Yes, sir. As other times that we search for the sheriff's office, we've used metal detectors, and so we start using those now.
Okay. How long did it take you guys to go over this pond?
I think we were there total 15 or 16 hours.
I'm going to ask you this question, just realistically.
Yes, sir.
You know, you've changed a few things since you did this search. You guys, number one, it's amazing to me what y'all can do because I get very claustrophobic and I can't scuba dive because of that very reason. So you're down there and you said it's like chocolate milk?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But is it possible that there's a gun still in that pond to this day?
I feel very confident we did a thorough search of it, and I feel like if there was one there, we would have found it.
Okay. But yes or no, it's possible.
Anything's possible.
Okay. That's all I have, Judge.
You want to play it? That's fine with me. Judge, we're going to play a video.
All right.
It's not very long. They want to play this video, so we'll play it here. And that's call it 17. It was 39 seconds. And tender that too.
No, Jacob.
All right. It's okay.
All right, can you sit down?
Yes.
All right, you be excused. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Steakhouse Terry Fries.